Okay, on page 37, we have class activity 1, and there is a table. You don't have to copy it. I just need you to fill in the blanks with me. But before we do that, let's try to understand what this table is about. In the first row, I have different values of theta. Okay, these are the different examples that we're going to be using. You see that theta ranges from 27 degrees and it increases all the way to 159 degrees. Okay, so the next row we have 180 degrees minus theta. Can we quickly calculate that for the second row? So the first one, I'm just doing mental sums. If I make a mistake, please let me know. Okay, please check. All correct? Okay, then the next row we have sine theta. We are not going to draw triangles. We're not going to use accurate drawing in order to find out what sine theta is. We're just going to use our calculator. Okay, so sine theta will be referring to sine of the first row. So let's use our calculator. Find out what those are. Okay, just leave your answers in 5SF first. So 0.4. Continue for the rest. Don't just wait for me to write the answer. Practice with your calculator. Okay, first row done. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about this first. Class, can I have your attention? Look at the screen once you're done, which most of you should be, because it's just pressing numbers. What do you notice about the values of theta? They are between 0 and 180 degrees, right? 0 and 180 degrees. And when we take sine of 0 to 180 degrees, what are these values? Are they positive or negative values? Okay, all of these are positive values. Positive values. What else do you notice? What is the range of these numbers? From 0 to 1. You don't see anything smaller than 0. You don't see anything greater than 1, right? So these are also between 0 and 1, okay? So that's all for this row. Let us go on to the next row. Sine 180 degrees minus theta. Okay, so same thing, we fill it up again. This time we are using these values over here. Okay? So calculate. As you're calculating, just compare your answer with what is directly above it. Do you feel like continuing pressing everything, or would you rather just, have you noticed a pattern? Okay, done? Okay, what do you notice? Yeah, they look like the same, huh? All same. What do you conclude from this? Does that make sense to you? Sine 180 degrees minus theta is actually the same as sine theta. Why does it make sense? We have calculated it out with our calculator. We see that the numbers here are the same. Numbers are the same. Oh? So we can reach a conclusion based on these two that sine theta is equals to sine 180 degrees minus theta. Okay, this is our conclusion. And you will need to know this. Okay? Next row, we have cosine theta. Okay, so fill that up. Fill it up by yourself. Who needs more time? Raise your hand. Wait, how many more? How many more do you have? 3 more, hurry up. For those who are done, I want you to compare your answers for cosine theta. Do you notice that they are no longer just positive values? Here we have positive and negative, right? When is it going to be positive? When is it going to be negative? After what? After 100 degrees. What's so special about this 100 degrees? Okay, we can try it out. Cosine 100 degrees. Do you get positive or negative value? You still get negative, right? How about, so what is that magical angle where the result changes? 90. Okay? As long as it is cosine acute angle, remember what we did yesterday? Cosine acute angle, we will get a positive value. So all these are acute. And these are obtuse. When we take cosine acute angle, we get positive results. When we take cosine obtuse angles, we will get negative results. Okay? Now, let us go on to the last row. Cosine 180 degrees minus theta. So fill in the blanks for this. Let's see who can do it faster. Okay, I'm done. Anybody else also finished? Oh, okay. How can you be typing so quickly in your calculator unless you realize a pattern? lesser the number become negative? Ah. Okay. Okay, good. Arfan, are you okay? Why you look so tired? Yesterday went out too late. Cycling. Okay, so what do you notice about the values in cosine theta and cosine 180 degrees minus theta? What can you tell me about the sign first? I mean the SIGN, whether it is positive or negative. What can you tell me about cosine theta and cosine 180 degrees minus theta? Compare these two. This one positive, this one negative, right? How about this one? Positive, negative, positive, negative. They are the opposites. Whereas for your obtuse angles, for your obtuse values of theta, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So you notice that the results for cosine theta and results for cosine 180 degrees minus theta, they are the opposite in sign. When one is positive, the other will be negative. When one is negative, the other will be positive. Okay? What else do we notice? Let's look at the magnitude. That means without looking at the sign only. Let us look at the size of this number, 0.89100. Let's look at the one at the bottom. Isn't the magnitude also the same? Also 0.89100, right? If we just compare the magnitude. Let me look at the next one. 0.74314. For your cosine 180 degrees minus theta, the magnitude is also 0.74314. So, as I was doing this, I calculated with my calculator the first two, then I realized there's a pattern. And I didn't use my calculator anymore. All I needed to do was to just change the sign and copy down the number. Okay? So what do we conclude from this? What can we conclude? Is cosine, can I write this? Cosine theta equals to cosine 180 degrees minus theta. Can I write this? Yeah, not really, right? Only the magnitude is the same. If I were to write this down, then my signs are different. So I need to do this. Negative cosine 180 degrees minus theta. Once I do this, then I will have the various results. Now, of course, this is the same as I multiply a negative 1 by both sides. So what will I get? I will get cosine 180 degrees minus theta equals to negative cosine theta. They are the same thing. Okay? Yes, you must put a negative, otherwise your answer will be wrong. You notice from your table, see the values, they are all in opposite sign. That is why we need the negative. Okay? Okay, so so if you flip with me to your next page of your textbook, on page 38. On page 38, we have what is highlighted in the box, same as what I've just highlighted. Sine 180 degrees minus theta. Sine 180 degrees minus theta is equals to sine theta. Also, cosine 180 degrees minus theta is equals to negative cosine theta. Okay? Alright. Now, let us go on to example number 2 of your textbook. Example number 2, we are asked to express as a trigonometric ratio of acute angles and find their values. Okay, so first one we have sine 149 degrees. Question, is this acute or obtuse? Acute or obtuse? Yeah, this is obtuse. And then the question wanted us to express this in terms of its acute angle. So just above the page, we had sine 180 degrees minus theta equals to sine theta, right? So we can rewrite 149 degrees as sine 180 degrees minus 31 degrees. Right? Whatever is in yellow over here, for 149 is equals to 180 minus 31, isn't it? Okay, I haven't done anything special yet. Okay, and we recall earlier on we had this sine 180 degrees minus theta equals to sine theta. Cosine 180 degrees minus theta equals to negative cosine theta. This was what we have shown in a table earlier on. So making use of these results, what is sine 180 degrees minus 31 degrees? Compare. Before you use your calculator and tell me the answer, what do we have? This is equals to sine 31. Sine 31 degrees. Okay, this is how we are converting. So this is in yellow. Okay, any questions with this step so far? Okay, do you agree with this conclusion earlier on? Rabiato, do you agree? So we see that if this theta over here is acute, 180 degrees minus theta must be obtuse, isn't it? Let me just give you an example of an acute angle. Let's say theta equals to 30 degrees. What is 180 degrees minus 30 degrees? 150. 150 degrees. Isn't that obtuse? So if I were to find sine 150 degrees, I am actually finding the same answer for sine 30 degrees. They are the same answers. They have the same answers as shown in our table earlier on. All your sine obtuse angles, they give you the same value as your sine acute angle. Okay? So that is what this question is asking us to do. To express this obtuse angle in terms of its acute angle. So we are using this conclusion that we got from the table earlier on. And so sine 180 degrees minus 31 degrees is actually the same answer as sine 31 degrees. And now we can use according to the question, they want us to use our calculators to find out the answer. And we will get 0.5150. Before we round off to 4SF, I still need my 5SF. 51503. And round it off to 0.5150. Okay? Okay. Let us try part B. In part B, we have cosine 180 degrees. 108 degrees. This over here is obtuse again. Okay? And we want to rewrite it to look like this. Instead of leaving it as 108, let us try to rewrite it in terms of its acute angle. So this will be cosine 180 degrees minus 72 degrees, isn't it? Nothing changed so far. 180 minus 72 is 108. Okay? So now we compare what we have with our conclusion earlier on. Cosine 180 degrees minus theta is equals to negative cosine theta. Take note, sine and cosine are different. Sine, they all stay with the same sign. Whereas for cosine, there is a change in sign given by this negative. Okay? So let's go. Next one. What should I write next? Negative. Negative first, then cosine. What is my value of theta? 180 minus theta, right? 180 minus theta. So minus cosine 72 degrees. So answer, we get negative 0.30901. And we round it off to negative 0.3090. Yes? Yeah, cosine 108 is equal to negative cosine 72 degrees. Yes. This is just practice for you only, because in reality, when you get these questions, when I ask you for cosine 108 degrees, what are you going to do? Are you going to do this, or are you just going to press in your calculator cosine 108? Probably you're going to do that, right? Why don't you try it now, cosine 108? And what do you get? You also get negative 0.30901, rounded off to negative 0.3090. So you see, the straightforward way, using your calculator, gives you the same answer as doing it the longer way, where we tried to change from an obtuse angle to a trigonometric ratio in terms of its acute angle. So why are we doing this? Later on you will see the use for it, okay? That will be shown in your homework. Okay, so now let us go on to example number 3. Do you have any questions for example 2 so far? Roberto, okay? Can I? Roughly, okay. Go home and practice. Now, we are going the other direction. Usually, we always find sine and cosine of an angle. Then we find out what is the value of that. Now we go backwards. Okay? So let's see part A. Sine theta equals to 0.5. So what is theta? In the previous lesson, we have learned that, what should we do? Theta will be equals to, theta will be equal to what? What should we write? 0.5? No. Inverse. Remember inverse? We write sine. What else? Inverse. We don't really call it negative one. Sine inverse 0.5. Okay, then what do we get? Try it. What is this? Is this an angle? So you must take the units, okay? So this is 30 degrees. This is what we have learned so far. But do you think there are other answers to this? Do you think there are other answers? Let me just write it down again, what we have learned just now. Sine 180 degrees minus theta equals to sine theta. And then cosine 180 degrees minus theta equals to negative cosine theta. So this was what we learned earlier on. Now we say that sine theta equals to 0.5. Aren't we actually saying that this is equals to 0.5? So if we are saying that this is equals to 0.5, and then we found out that theta is equals to 30, right? Aren't we also saying that sine 180 degrees minus theta also equals 0.5? Because they're all the same, Sine 180 degrees minus theta equals to sine theta equals to 0.5. If sine theta equals to 0.5, therefore, we also conclude that sine 180 degrees minus theta also equals to 0.5. Right? Then, we had theta to be equals to what? Just now we said that theta was equals to 30, right? So another angle will be angle such that sine theta equals to 0.5 will be 180 degrees minus 30 equals to 150 degrees. Do not copy this down yet. Do not copy this down yet, because I want to show you the correct presentation. Right now, I want you to use your calculator, press sine 150 degrees. What did you get? You get half, right? So what does that tell you? It is the same. And then now you try sine 30 degrees. What do you get? Also, you get half. So that tells us that there are two answers for the angle. Okay? Theta can have two values. Theta can be 30 degrees. It can also be 150 degrees. Okay, so how do we present all these things? Refer to your example in your textbook. In black over here, this was what we have learned previously. Okay, so now in this new topic, this is how we are going to present. Let alpha, this is another symbol, it's just called alpha. We learn many symbols, we learn pi, we learn theta, alpha, what, Romeo? No, not Romeo. So let alpha be an acute angle, meaning it is from 0 to 90 degrees. Okay? Such that sine alpha equals to 0.5. Okay? We haven't really done anything special. I am just changing theta to become alpha. Why do I want to do that? I specify that alpha is an acute angle. Do you recall what is your theta in the question? Otherwise, refer quickly back to your question. Theta, they define it as from 0 to 180 degrees. That is given in your question. 0 to 180 degrees. Now I define alpha to be from 0 to 90 degrees only. Okay, acute angle. So now I am going to solve this equation that I created. Right? So therefore alpha equals to sine inverse 0.5, and we get the answer as 30 degrees. So this 30 degrees is alpha. It is my acute angle. Okay? We got that from our calculator. So we continue. Since sine 180 degrees minus alpha equals to sine alpha, this over here is our conclusion from our table earlier on. This one. Since we have proven this to be true, we can continue to say that sine 180 degrees minus when sine theta equals to 0.5, theta will be equals to 30 degrees, or it will be 180 degrees minus 30 degrees equals to 150 degrees. So this is the presentation, how we expect it to be. Okay, there are two answers for this, 30 degrees and 150 degrees. Do you understand? Okay. Is it because of this theta over here, and then the alpha, and then in the formula you also have a theta? Are these confusing to you all? Okay, don't understand formula. I'm going to try something. Instead of calling it theta, right? Let's just call it let's just give it another symbol. Let's call it a moon. Okay, it is just representing something. Maybe you all are sick of algebra already. You all don't like to work with letters anymore. Now I just change it to a moon. This moon can represent numbers. It represents numbers, okay? So as long as sine, for example, 5. Sine 5 must be equals to sine 180 degrees minus 5. Okay? So I'll just do the same thing for your cosine. I change it to a moon. Because in our question, in example 3, right, they use theta again. Then, wow, so many theta, which theta is which theta, right? Might be confusing. Okay? So, this is our formula, which we don't change first. Okay? Now, in our question, they say that sine theta equals to 0.5 degrees. And they tell you that theta lies between 0 and 180 degrees. So, theta can be an acute angle, it can be an obtuse angle. Okay? In the past, we have learnt only acute angles, and how we find the value of theta is just sine inverse 0.5 degrees. Then just press into your calculator. You realize that theta is equals to 30 degrees. That is acute. Alright? Now, we have learned that sometimes when you have sine something equals to maybe 0.5, there could be another answer. In this case, sine 180 degrees minus the moon could be equals to 0.5. Sine the moon could also be equals to 0.5. There are two possible angles that will give you answer 0.5. And we need to find both of them. And that is why we need to use this formula. We need to consider the two cases. So we create our own angle called alpha first. We let it be the acute angle such that sine alpha is 0.5. We solve it as per normal. We get alpha is equals to 30 degrees. So that is one of our angle already. We need to find the other angle because we said that there are two of them. And the other angle is given by 180 degrees minus whatever you found earlier on, which in this case is 30. So the other angle will be 180 degrees minus 30, you get 150 degrees. Okay? Now, go home, go and look through the rest of example 3 and re-watch this video again. If